This one-pot chicken and rice dish is one of my favorite Trinidadian recipes. I'm Shariba from In Search of Yummy-ness, and today I'm going to show you how I make Trinidadian Pilau with chicken. So the first step of this recipe is to season the chicken. Now ideally you would do this the night before, let it sit in the fridge overnight, but if you don't have time for that, that's okay. You can just season this first and then let it sit while you prepare the rest of the ingredients. I season my chicken with salt and pepper, of course, and also fresh thyme and fresh garlic. Now if you don't have fresh thyme, you can use dried thyme instead. Just use about a third less of it. So now I'm going to go ahead and mix this all together. I do prefer to use gloves for this, but you could use a large spoon instead if you wanted to. While my chicken is marinating, I'll go ahead and start preparing my vegetables. I actually use both regular onions and green onions in my pilau. I just didn't want to show cutting everything, so you get the idea. Now it's time to get cooking, so let's add vegetable oil to a large heavy pot over medium heat, and then once that warms up we can add our brown sugar. It's really important to let the sugar caramelize and get dark in color before we start adding the chicken. That deeply caramelized sugar actually adds a ton of flavor to this dish. So I actually let that chicken cook in the caramelized sugar for about 4 minutes, turning it so it gets brown on all sides, and then I went ahead and added my onions, carrots, and pigeon peas. Now if you don't know what pigeon peas are, I actually have an article about them on my website, so I'll be sure to add that link for you so you can check it out. Let this cook for about 5 minutes before you add the rice. It'll just give the vegetables a chance to get a head start. Give the rice a really good stir here so it can start picking up that caramelized sugar and the other flavors that we're building in this pot. Next I'm adding some finely chopped cilantro and the green onions that I cut up, as well as some sprigs of thyme and a hot pepper. And if you choose to touch that pepper with your bare hands, please remember not to touch your eyes until you wash your hands really well. Ideally, I would use a Scotch bonnet pepper for this recipe, but my grocery didn't have any, so I went ahead and used a habanero instead, which is similar but not really the same thing. If you can find a Scotch bonnet, definitely go for that. Next, I'm adding my full-fat coconut milk. You want to look for coconut milk that's meant for cooking, not the drinkable kind. It'll be too runny. And then here I'm adding low-sodium chicken broth. You could use water instead. I just find the chicken broth adds more flavor. Then I'll go ahead and season with salt and pepper, give it a good stir before reducing the heat to medium-low and adding a cover so that the rice can cook for about 20 to 25 minutes. You'll know that the pilau is done when the rice is tender and it has absorbed most of the liquid. Now some people do prefer to have it a little wetter, some people prefer it to be a bit drier. This is just how I like to have it. If you want to make sure that your chicken is safely cooked through, just use a food thermometer to make sure that it's at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit. And what I'm doing here is just taking a fork to kind of fluff up that rice. It'll just loosen up the individual grains so it looks a bit fluffier. If you left your pepper whole like I did, you can take it out here and chop it up so that people can add a little bit to their plate. And I also go ahead and remove that sprig of thyme because you don't want to eat that. So that's how I make Trinidadian chicken pilau. If you liked this recipe, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos from me. Also, if you'd like a printable version of this recipe, it's available on my website. I'll drop that link for you below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.